this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is October 28th, 2020, and these are the top stories of the day. To kick things off, wow, did we have a nice wake up with the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase that dropped suddenly, really out of nowhere this morning. Man, we got a lot of cool things with it. I have my reaction video personally up here paused that I recorded this morning, and a couple of things to go over real quick. If you already watched that video, then that's why I'm going over this quickly, but if you didn't watch that video and you're new to the channel, then that's why I'm also spending some time here. So anyhow, we got to see some cool stuff, including Control Cloud Edition coming to Nintendo Switch and being available now. In fact, with a free demo that you could check out, with the main game being available to purchase for $40. So Control obviously is already out on other platforms, is a very solid game, full of action, really good visuals, and in this trailer that we saw this morning, it said, shown under optimum settings, you have to have a good stable internet connection and so forth. I checked out the game myself this afternoon, played the demo. I tried both graphics mode and performance mode and was actually blown away. I have like 242 megabit internet download capability, so good quality cable, not the fastest, but I had zero problems, no lag, no issues. The visuals really popped. Loading it up was like, wow, this is impressive. I hope to see this more often from Nintendo, make other high profile third party games that may not necessarily work the best on Nintendo Switch via cartridge or typical download format, make them available, in this cloud setting. It's terrific. In addition to Control, which, by the way, like I said, ran really well in both graphics mode and performance mode. In addition to Control, Hitman 3 was actually shown off first and is going to be made available later. That's another really impressive one. In this video this morning, we got a look at a few other games, some new announcements. We got to see No More Heroes 3, which was awesome. That came later in the presentation, if I'm not mistaken. We also got No More Heroes 1 and 2 being announced that they're coming to Nintendo Switch. That was welcomed. We got a brand new trailer for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And not just that, but today, in this morning Nintendo Direct Mini, they said, a demo available now, free, eShop, go check it out. I played the demo. Super cool, so much fun, just like I was hoping it would be. It looks really nice on the screen. Graphics pop, feels like you're in Breath of the Wild. It is the environment from that game. They did a good job, recreating it and using the art assets. The story feels significant. It's also not just a pure prequel, so there may be some surprise twists and stuff like that. Not to give too much away, because if you haven't checked it out yet, I definitely recommend you doing so. But there's something in it that's going to be a surprise, I think, for most people. I was pleasantly surprised when I was playing. Obviously, we got Immortals Phoenix Rising. Pre-order is available now. Bravely, sometimes I say Bravery. Bravely Default 2 with a release date of February 26th. That was nice, and actually that was how they opened up the Nintendo Direct. So really cool, really solid. If you want to watch it live, it's on Nintendo's channel. You could watch the 19-minute presentation. If you want to watch it with me and look and see how I reacted to it, then that's available on my page. But nice stuff. Anyhow, moving on. Crash Bandicoot 4 obviously came out not too long ago on PlayStation 4, but we've got some rumors that it's coming to Nintendo Switch. People have been digging, they've been data mining, and it looks like a Nintendo Switch version is going to be added soon to join the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One version. Um, with all rumors that I report on, I like to see if there are multiple sources that are corroborating on the story. Are they coming from the same place and then spreading out and then coming back together, or are they from multiple channels reporting? When it's from multiple channels reporting, I don't mean, YouTube channels specifically. I'm talking about different sources actually, coming up with their own independent contribution to a rumor holding weight. That's when I look at it and say, okay, this is probably happening. Until it actually gets revealed officially by Activision, we'll call it a rumor, but I think Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, is going to come to Nintendo Switch. Kind of like how the previous games from Activision, the remakes, came to Nintendo Switch a little bit later. Well, for a few of them at least. But anyhow, I will report on this as we develop more. And actually, I'll also throw a little speculation in there. This isn't news. This is just purely something that I'm hoping to see. How great would it be if they officially announced Crash Bandicoot 4 on Nintendo Switch at the same time as dropping Crash in Smash Bros. Crash hits Smash, Crash crashes Smash, something like that, Show the trailer for the game, and then boom, more footage of Crash Bandicoot coming to Ultimate. Wow, would that be terrific? But we'll see. That's just a cool idea that I thought I'd throw in. Next up, some Xbox news. The meme was real. It was regarding the Xbox Series X looks like a fridge. Ha ha ha. People putting up fridge memes on the internet, last December when it was shown off at the Game Awards. And the meme, carried through for several months into 2020. And Microsoft said, hey, the meme was too good that we decided that we couldn't pass up on it. So they actually made an Xbox Series X refrigerator. And it's a fully functioning big fridge. Snoop Dogg put it up. He received one from Microsoft, and it was kind of a funny video. iJustine on YouTube, also received one, and she did the unboxing in her garage. The thing barely fit the roof, barely fit the ceiling, entrance. Cool stuff. Pretty neat. Here you can actually see it. Yeah, the only Xbox Series X fridge giveaway. So specifically with this tweet, Microsoft is actually going to be giving this away. And you could enter. All you have to do is go on Twitter and retweet it. You can see that Doom is in on it too. That's actually pretty funny. Really raising the stakes. With a fridge this big, you'd have food eternal. Yeah, I like both of those. Yeah, just retweet this. Hashtag XSX fridge sweepstakes for a chance to win the Xbox Series X fridge. I did. I have a perfectly good refrigerator, but I wouldn't mind upgrading it to an Xbox Series X fridge. So you'll have to let me know. What do you think of this? Is this kind of funny to you? Would you want one? Are you going to, submit your own entry? Let's hear it. Next up, another rumor, and also pertaining to Nintendo Switch. Some different sources are saying that files have been uncovered indicating that Resident Evil 3 Cloud Edition is coming to Nintendo Switch. I wouldn't be too surprised if this is true, because after all, it was Resident Evil 7 that was in Japan received a cloud version for Nintendo Switch. Now we're seeing Control. We're seeing Hitman 3 come. So Resident Evil 3, I think that's pretty likely. I would really be interested in playing this one on Nintendo Switch and hopefully in the United States, unlike Resident Evil 7 on Switch, because I like the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, and hopefully we would get 2 also on Nintendo Switch, but they're pretty much graphic pushers, Resident Evil 3 is a very good looking game, but if they could get this to work, and it's smooth. It's also a slower paced game than something like Control, which gets very action oriented later on. But 3, it has its action moments as well. But if we could get these games, could we get something like Devil May Cry 5? Because that's also using the RE engine, although that's a very visually demanding, high frame rate demanding, graphical demanding game. We got action, we got graphics, you got high frames per second needed to make it silky smooth, and ideally playing it at a high resolution. That could be pretty taxing. But hey, if it's working on the cloud and Capcom gets it right and Nintendo is helping make things smooth experience, why not, right? So those are 2 rumors for today. We've got Crash Bandicoot 4, I think coming to Nintendo Switch, and of course Resident Evil 3. What do you think? Are you a fan of cloud streaming? I'm seeing that it's working, Not a lot of people, well, I should say, not everyone has a fast enough internet connection to work. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about regarding cloud streaming, I'll spend a little bit of time to explain it. You're not buying a cartridge. You're not buying a disc. You're not downloading the game at all to your system, for that matter. You're tapping in with your internet provider to the cloud, to their servers, the company servers, Capcom's, whichever company is providing you with their game. And you're playing it live off of the cloud. And that's why doing so, you could achieve better graphics than the hardware that's playing it would normally be able to produce on its own. And it actually made me think of an idea, if this is possible, to have something where there's a duality that's working, where if you bought an enhanced version of a game, I'm just going to pick Doom Eternal, for instance, okay? You're buying Doom Eternal on a Nintendo Switch, cartridge, download, whatever, and it looks as good as it does, which is going to be fine, but you know what Nintendo Switch can produce. But there's also a cloud version, and the cloud version would look, more comparable to like what we're seeing on Xbox One or PlayStation 4, right? Is there a way that, with your cartridge inserted or your download running, that you could tap in and play the cloud version, and then at any time there could be some kind of auto balancing that if your internet signal goes down, instead of the game going kaput and you being kicked off, it would revert to what's on the system currently, whether it's the cartridge or the download, and when that internet signal is going back up, you're seamlessly integrated back into that higher visual fidelity experience. You know what I'm saying? Something like that could be cool. Instead of paying $60, you'd be paying $80 for this higher experience. But at that point, why pay more? At that point, you could probably get it on another console, but still, you could look at it as, well, that's the attractive nature of the Nintendo Switch. You are playing the game in, cartridge or download format anywhere you want to go, and you're, for a little bit more, paying for the ability to have it on your home TV screen. Then you're getting the best of both worlds for a little more, but like I said, also the only version that you could take on the go. I wouldn't mind that approach. And to ensure that you're not just buying the cartridge and selling the code to someone else, maybe you'd have a one-time activation fee where you put the cartridge in, you download it in the cloud version, it's tied to yours, that's it. The cloud version will only work if you have the cartridge or the download on your system. There you go. Could that work? Because that would be pretty neat. Because a lot of people like that physical, tangible medium, but at the same time, Nintendo Switch is a very competent machine, but it could only produce visuals of a certain caliber. Tapping into the cloud, you get better graphics, but not as reliable of a guarantee that it's going to play. I didn't experience any lag, I didn't experience any problems, but if your internet goes out, if your signal weakens at some point, you will get kicked out of the game. That doesn't happen in normal games aside from crashes. So this idea of mine if it could work, I wonder if developers will think of it themselves next. Just an idea. Anyways, kind of a fun little tangent to explore afterwards, after the initial news. Typically do that. I like to talk about the news, provide it accurately, but then if it interests me enough, kind of expand a bit, in which that kind of goes into my video game talk segments, but not quite as long, just a couple minutes each. Anyways, moving on. AMD had some big stuff today, and that was the introduction of their RX 6000 series graphics cards. It was a couple of months ago that NVIDIA showed off its new cards, and they were impressive. We got the 3070, the 3080, the 3090, and all pretty reasonably priced. Well, today it was AMD's turn, and we got some pretty competent stuff too. We got the Radeon 6800, the 6800 XT, and the 6900. Now, the 6900, this is the equivalent of the 3090 NVIDIA card. The difference is this is about $1,000, and that NVIDIA one, the 3090, is about $1,500. So that's a good $500 price difference for what they're saying is, this type of results. Here's the 6900 in red, and here's the RTX 3090 from NVIDIA in gray. And in this presentation, and if you want to see it in its entirety, it's like 24 minutes long. AMD has it on their YouTube channel. You can see that in some categories, the 3090 beats out the 6900 from AMD, and in some other games, the AMD card outperforms what NVIDIA does. So, if we're trusting this, it looks pretty fair and pretty reasonable, but for $500 less. Now, if you're a top of the end gamer and price isn't a matter, well, which one do you get? Do you build your AMD computer with AMD parts and get a little bit of a graphics boost by throwing in a 6900 and hopefully not having any issues that sometimes AMD cards have? Possibly. Or do you just go with the NVIDIA? Well, if you have no problems with money, I wouldn't just say necessarily go with NVIDIA because, hey, look at this. Some of the games outperform NVIDIA's card with AMD. What will be better? Time remains on that one. Which card's holding up better? Which card's getting bugs 6 months in? Which card with which computer pairing is proving that, hey, 2 years in, this ended up being the better one, right? Time remains which one's better engineered and so forth. But right now, AMD's got a little bit of an edge, and definitely in terms of price and in terms of performance, fairly even. And then when it comes to the Radeon 6800, this is comparable, well, the 6800 XT, I should say. This was comparable to the 3080 from NVIDIA. It's actually about $80 cheaper. So coming in at low 400s, that's not bad. And the Radeon RX 6800, the weakest model, if you will, is like $80 more than the 3700 from NVIDIA. So you've got a couple of cheaper options than the counterparts on the NVIDIA side, and one that's a little bit more expensive, but still, $500, $400. These aren't that expensive cards as a lot of people probably thought this next generation of PC cards were going to be, on either side of the fence, whether you're an AMD person or an NVIDIA person. Yeah, it's exciting stuff. I'd recommend checking out, especially if you're planning on building a PC. This will be available in December, and for some of the channels that will definitely get their hands on these cards, whether it's from NVIDIA, from AMD, whether they buy them themselves or, like I said, receive them, they'll stack them up, they'll put them head to head and, run tests, and that's going to be exciting to see. I won't do that on my channel, but I'm still a fan of other people's channels, and breaking down the components and just how far could this stuff go. But yeah, that's it for gaming news today. Let me know, are you interested in the AMD Radeon series? That RX 6900 line? What would you get? Or are you just more of a simple console gamer? What did you think of that Nintendo Direct Mini? Cloud gaming, talk to me. Crash, Resident Evil, are you a fan? What do you think about that Xbox fridge? Yeah. Let me know in the comments below. As always, it's fun talking with you. I appreciate the time. Hope you all have a good one, and I'll see you next time for more video game news. PGN signing out. Bye.